Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host, Matt Marrero, along with the other host,
Tristan Walter.
And Tristan Walter, what movie are we doing today?
Ghidorah, the three-headed monster from space.
It's actually Ghidorah, but I'll let it slide.
Ghidorah, yes. Well,
no, it's Ghidorah.
I've heard it so many different ways as a kid. It messes with my head after a while. But yeah.
Ghidorah, Deirdre. I've heard plenty of different names for the three-headed monster. That Deirdre, if anyone's like, Deirdre's actually one of our Let's Play hosts. Wonderful person. Will fight me over that line, and that's why I call her Ghidorah. Because they will fight me over that line. So anyway, literally with all three of their heads. So, anywho, so today we're doing Ghidorah, three-headed monster, and it is such a good movie. Like, there are some things, look, obviously every time we do the podcast, there's some things I didn't like, there's some things you didn't like. Sometimes we'll go a little bit too hard on it, and I'll admit that. Like, I even admit, looking back at Rodan, I think I was kind of a jerk saying that it could have happened without any of the people, because most of these movies, I think, minus Mothra, could have happened with, the ones that we've done on the show anyway, most of these, giant monster movies could have happened without the people, minus Mothra, because obviously the people are the ones that took the two women off the island, right? The two fairies, right? So in this case, though, it was such a good movie, man. Like, I mean, I'm going to say, okay, I'll just talking about it from the monster perspective, right? Mm-hmm. I wasn't a big fan of the rock throwing fight. I don't know why. I'm so confused and also kind of interested, really, into why rock throwing is, like, the big thing that monsters really want to do. Like, I don't know if that was, like, the Batusi for them in the 60s, if that was, like, the Monster Mash. I just don't understand why the hit new thing was throw the rock.
I mean, the more damage you can do to your opponent without getting close to them. That's
I guess, but like
there's whole papers written on that, Matt.
I understand strategy. My problem is that, like, I don't know, it made sense with King Kong versus Godzilla, I think. I don't know, maybe because, like, one is a beast and the other one is, like, radioactive monster, right? So it makes sense.
Because that's all one could do.
Yes, right? Well, I mean, Godzilla threw it, so what the fuck are you talking about? He's literally a radiation machine. He's literally a radiation beast, and he's like, me pick up rock, me throw.
I mean, Kong threw rocks, too, but...
No, but that's what you were saying. You were like, because all Kong could do is throw rocks. And I'm like, Godzilla literally threw a rock. And it wasn't even like Rodan was in midair. No, because if Rodan was in the air, it'd be like, he has to throw the rock. What else can fucking Godzilla do, right? But Rodan was like, granted, Rodan had the wings, to be fair. So, like, he pushed him away. So he's like, fuck it, me throw a rock. But then why did, like, the wings not push the rock right into Godzilla's face again?
Right.
Godzilla throw that good.
With Rodan, and I really want to reiterate, why the fuck didn't we get a Godzilla versus Rodan movie? I guess we got, like, 5 minutes of that, but it was them throwing rocks at each other in this. But, you know, Rodan took the atomic breath in the face and was like, I'm going to shake that off. Godzilla's like, excuse me?
That was no, it's funny. You were like, why have we never gotten a movie like that? And you were like, I guess I don't know, maybe they don't measure up or something. And, like, literally he takes the breath to the face and he's just like, you have morning breath. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, that's why I want that Versus movie. I am disappointed, Toho. You dropped the ball on that one. The fuck didn't we get a Rodan versus Godzilla?
So
they are a good match!
Here's the thing. I haven't seen any of the films, right? Like, any of the other films past these, right? I mean, I've seen, like, a few here and there, right? Like, bits and pieces. But I really, looking at the lineup that I've seen, like, just based on the titles alone, maybe they just never had the time.
I guess that's true. I mean, I could be wrong.
I know it sounds...
From what I looked at, I tried to look at some of the movies, like, down the line, and I didn't see one, so...
There is no official Godzilla versus Rodan from what I've checked. From what I remember seeing. But at the same time, I will admit, though, I'm sure some people would look at me and go, they didn't have the time. They remade one movie 3 times. And I'd be like, fair enough.
Fair enough, yeah. Yeah, no, excluding that, like, that's obviously, like, fair enough. Like, if they couldn't do it, they couldn't do it. But just from, like, a matchup perspective, I'm like, these two monsters would actually be an interesting matchup. They, you know, like, each has like, I don't know, Godzilla, well, you know, I mean, you know me, Godzilla's always the king, but, like, Rodan would give him a run for his money. Not really affected by the breath weapon, has flight. It's like, they're both pretty hardy. It's like, that could have been an interesting fight. But
Godzilla, I am the king of monsters, King Ghidorah. I'm sorry, is that in your name or is it in mine? Because I'm relatively sure that it's actually in my name. Like, the only way Godzilla could get them to fight would be like, oh, really? King Ghidorah? Well, there's 3 heads. Which one of you is king? Me.
Me.
They look at each other. You want to fucking go, me?
All right,
I will kick my own ass, you piece of shit.
Godzilla, hold my beer. Sure.
I would love all 3 heads just fighting. Godzilla's like, this is wonderful. Oh, by the way.
Yes.
So the one thing I did like, though, about, like, talking about from the monsters, we'll talk about the humans in a second. With the monsters, the one thing I really did enjoy is I enjoyed, even though it was a similar suit anyway, still I loved how Godzilla still looks just as gnarly.
Yeah.
Looked just as gnarly as he did in the original. My only problem was they changed up the face, and it was not for the better. Now, I'll admit. Well, here's what I mean by the face, right? It's not just about, like, you know, the mouth and the scars, because the mouth was good, right? The face, again, itself is good. But the eyes, man.
Yeah, the eyes were a little kooky for everybody, I have to admit. But the fact that they moved was interesting. I'll give them that.
Yes. But no, it's just the fact that it's like, oh, no, Godzilla's watching Rodan, and Rodan's like, really, with those eyes? And Godzilla's like, yeah, with these eyes. You want to pick a fight with me, bro?
Oh, God.
It's like, yeah, I guess I am. All right.
I more thought of Cookie Monster, but yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I get where you're going.
Me
Godzilla.
chewing like Cookie. G is for Gojira.
Oh, my fucking God.
Which is good enough to hit with nuclear bombs. Anyway, so,
oh, man.
But,
okay.
But, no, okay, so, like, the eyes. Now, speaking of eyes, though, I was so fucking happy with how they redesigned Mothra. They needed to do something to make Mothra look more menacing after 2 movies of, my name is Mothra, goody go 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 go. Oh, look at the cute little baby. Like, that's what he was for 2 films. For 2 films, Larva Mothra was like, would you. Finally, they were like, let's give him some fucking scary-ass eyes, make him look like he's about to fuck some shit up, and also, let's make sure to make it seem as if the sting breath, like there's basically a string shot, right?
Yeah.
The fact that it doesn't only, like it's not just, like, you know, oh, God, the string in my face. Like, it's not like, you know, silly string. It's, oh, God, I am immobile, and it might even burn a bit. Like, I would, like, after seeing it in this movie, I would not want to be hit by that string shot. As a human being, I feel like I would be, like, stuck in place, like stone.
Yeah, probably.
But originally when you see it, you're like, oh, man, that string. Unless it's coming at you really fast, you're like, that's terrible. Right? Like, I'm sorry to hear about your string. But now, after, like, seeing what it did to both Rodan, even though it was kind of funny the way Rodan's face looked, but when it hit Rodan and Godzilla, even Godzilla was like, fucking shit. Like, he sat there. He was like, motherfucker. I can't do shit.
Well, I loved it.
It was beautiful.
They're like, how are we going to stop King, Ghidorah? It's like, maybe it's like, all right, going to put this out there. He fought Godzilla and won. It's like, all right, well, you chased him off because Godzilla was basically like, I'm in a cocoon right now. I didn't sign up for this shit today. I'm out. Like, I did. When I got up today out of that wreckage, out of the typhoon, I'm like, what am I willing to deal with today? Not this. I'm out. So
I love it, though, because what I think was really funny.
Or defeat him is questionable, at least in my book.
Yes.
But it's like, let's I'm sure Mothra could, like convince them to all work together. Crawls up. It's like, hey guys, Godzilla's just like, oh, this motherfucker's back. All right, where's your boy, huh? You gonna take me on again? Let's see you do this with just you.
He actually
like,
died.
Whoa, guys,
good
like
fucking shit.
Like Rodan's just like, I'm kind of new. Like I don't know what you guys have, together with each other, but like I'm gonna go over here. Godzilla's like, no, you stay right the fuck there. I'm not done with you yet. And you get your ass over here. You're next.
Oh my god. Rodan was like, if only you were smaller, Mothra, you'd be dinner.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
Yeah. But I really enjoyed Mothra's redesign because the eyes looked a lot creepier than...
Yeah.
The only problem that I had, and you can, in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong here, you can tell that the movie was rushed because Mothra never went into into her second form. Because I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you realize this, Tristan. I know we had a discussion about it, but I don't think we talked about it in the show itself, so on air. This movie, if anyone doesn't know, came out in 1964, the same year that Mothra vs. Godzilla came out. So literally, Mothra vs. Godzilla comes out. Toho is like, holy shit, that makes a lot of money. Let's make a direct sequel, Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. And they do it in the same calendar year.
Right.
That means things were rushed. Now, I don't feel like I don't feel like you can tell that a lot of the movie was rushed, in my opinion. It doesn't feel like it was rushed, but most definitely Mothra only having that one form felt rushed to me. Also, and this might just be because they wanted to condense some things, not because it was rushed, it does feel a little interesting that they're like, what happened to other Mothra? It died. Like a really bad off-screen death.
Well, it's funny. I mean, I know... I kind of chalked it up to the fact that I know both Mothra larvae swam away at the end of Mothra versus Godzilla, but if you look at the fight, one of them, I don't know, it felt like one of them took a bigger beating than the other one.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of chalked it up to like, well, you succumbed to your injuries, I guess. That's kind of sad. Like I like no doubt when I heard like, one of them's dead, I'm like, oh shit. Well,
my problem was
I'm sorry
in
about
the
that,
dub.
guys. Like.
The dub, by the way, wasn't the worst, right? However, because most of the lines were in some ways similar, or at least the concepts were similar, and even in some ways they actually expanded on some stuff that the Japanese kind of just left up to interpretation. Where like so it's weird in general that it's like, well, we don't really have the capacity to tell whether or not this Venus thing is like that or this Mars thing. That was weird in general, but at least in the dub it was like, oh yeah. We humans just like it's beyond our capabilities, i.e. it's beyond like human I guess knowledge at this point, right? Where in the sub it was very vague and even weirder. So like in some ways, like in the sub, right, it was kind of like obviously you know that the two fairies can talk to Mothra or can understand what the monsters are saying, right? They speak monster. So, like, it makes sense that, and everyone knows they speak monster, right? So, obviously, they look to them in the sub. But in the dub, it was kind of like, it was very, like, I think straightforward in a good way, where it's like, but, can you understand what they're saying? Of course I don't speak monster, but they do, right? And then, like, kind of bend down and look towards the girls. Like, I feel like in the sub, in some ways, it's good that they expect us to know what's going on. They don't, like, force-feed us. Because I'm not a big fan of, like, an English dub trying to force-feed us. Like, with the narration in Rodan, I was kind of like, guys, you don't really need the narration in Rodan. But in this movie, it wasn't so much narration, minus that one part that I didn't like, where the dub tried to do narration for the two fairies singing about Mothra, and even tried to translate what they were saying, but not put subs on the screen. It was really awkward. Also, the fact that in the earlier movies, they didn't use Japanese. They just kind of like, it sounded like anyway they just made up the song, like just made up whatever. Recently, they've been using like a Japanese song in the last two movies. So in this one, it was just kind of interesting that, like, in the dub, they were like, in their strange native tongue. And I'm like, oh, so I didn't realize I'd wake up today. In my head, I'm like, I didn't realize that I'd wake up today and tell a movie to go fuck itself. But clearly, Matt Marrero ended up telling a movie to go fuck itself. That strange native tongue, you know. I'm like, it's fucking Japanese, god damn it. I know it's 60s, but it's like, fuck you. Right? Versus, like, if they made it up when they originally, you know, had a made-up song. At least I believe they originally had something made up before it was actually, like, turned into a Japanese song. Right?
Mm.
Am I wrong? Like, the original song is not this song. Like the Masuda,
yeah,
that's something different. Yeah.
I think so.
So this one is an actual. Yeah, this one's actually Japanese. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Right.
Anyway, but yeah. So when it comes to the monsters, right? I enjoyed Mothra's redesign. Sucks that she didn't get to go into that second gear because as much as it was nice that they made the string shot matter more, and that she was able to, like, you know, get on top of or ride along with other monsters, it makes her look like the weakest, or at least more comical when she's like, I'm riding a fucking Rodan! And Rodan's like, I have a name, it's actually John. I'm fucking riding John! Like I'm saying, like, he's just, like, literally it's like, I am on top of Rodan and I am shooting string and I am the fucking boss right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool. I guess this is, but King Ghidorah. Yeah, you do you. King Ghidorah currently it is my favorite monster in terms of how they made the special effects for him.
Mm.
I mean, dude, this is 1964, and they made it look like that.
Yeah.
Like, apparently...
Like, it hatches out of the meteorite into, like, a gaseous, fiery form first, and then takes a more physical form in the air. That was fucking cool.
But, like, no, not even just that, just how they made it move. Although, of course, that's cool, too. But how they made it move, where apparently they had a guy hunched over in the suit, and then from above, they had puppeteers working each head.
Nice, yeah.
And the wings.
Right. And I'm guessing
they
the
had
tails,
about, like,
too. Maybe
thank
not
you.
as
Yes,
much
the
as, like,
tails,
Godzilla,
too.
but...
No, but you're right, yes. So they had well, because I believe there's someone, I don't think you need a puppeteer to work Godzilla's tail. I mean, maybe you do. But I thought you could work it from inside the suit. But you're right, probably, that's also a puppeteer, most likely. But still, they had like 7 guys working on that at once.
Mm.
That is the coolest thing to me. So, like, just the fact that it looked like that. Because you could look at it and be like, is that like CGI? Is that fake? Is that not? No. It was all real.
Yeah.
Potentially sped up footage in some parts, but still real. And I was like, wow. Like, this is 1964, and King Ghidorah looks super fucking good. Like, I hate to say it, but in a way, the suit kind of eclipsed some of the other ones. Just because of its intricacy and, like, I think it being gold also, like, I think it tricks your mind into thinking that's cooler. But, like, it was just so cool. Like, King Ghidorah was really fucking cool. I just really kind of wish I knew more about its origins because it kind of just came off as, it is some space shit, man. Right? No, like, that's kind of like what, like, it is some space shit. And then what did it do? It destroyed other space shit, specifically either Venus or Mars. Wow, that's crazy. I know. And, like, that's it.
I mean... I like how they delved into the idea. Well, it's weird. Like, I guess it really doesn't make too much difference, but the original and the sub, it's... I mean, I guess Ghidorah itself is not necessarily from Jupiter, but I don't know.
No, it isn't. No, Venus.
Yeah.
Not Jupiter. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, confused. Sorry, I don't know why I'm thrown off. But what's it called? Venus is where the brainwaves, I guess, are coming from, because it's clearly not like a physical possession, it's a brainwave thing, or something like that, from, given to the princess. That's from Venus, right? But you're mentioning Jupiter because that deals with Ghidorah?
I was under the impression that she had come from Jupiter.
No, Venus.
And then in the dub, they change it to Mars.
Yes, you're right about the dub, yes. But no, she was from Venus.
All right. Oh, I'm pretty damn sure they said Jupiter, but I'll take your word for it.
Because I just saw the sub, and they said Venusian And literally she was like, I don't remember being from Venus. So they said Venus a lot.
The fuck? All right. Yeah, so anyway, Ghidorah had destroyed her civilization, whatever planet she's from. Fuck, what was I saying?
You were talking about destroying the planet and then, like, delving into Ghidorah.
Ghidorah is basically like a traveling... it kind of made me think of Thanos in the Marvel Universe. He's just a planet destroyer.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I guess, Galactus, that was different. That's two different characters, though.
Yeah, I know, but I still get what you're trying to say, yes.
Yeah, just the evil monstrosity that's going throughout space and just like, I'm going to destroy this planet. I'm going to eat this planet.
I understand where you're coming from, yeah.
Yeah.
This is so interesting. It may have been given... Why would it be given different translations? No, because I'm actually looking just to, because it's interesting that you and I would come up with different... Because we may have seen different translated versions. But that's so strange, though, because why would Venus turn to Jupiter? But, again, we're both talking about different subs. That's so interesting. Because, right now I'm looking online, and different sources say, yes, no, a prophetess from Venus. And then other ones are like, yes, a prophetess from Jupiter. And I'm like, what? Excuse me? I feel like this is the Berenstein Bears thing all over again.
Oh, my God.
You know about that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so, wait a minute. Ghidorah could destroy all life on Jupiter when the woman could be from Venus. Yes?
Possibly,
I'm not
I guess.
saying it makes sense.
Maybe.
Okay. Anyway, but yeah, so... Now, question, how do you feel about the people? Because I'm not saying anything else you want to say about the monsters before we talk about the people.
No, I definitely enjoyed the people, the characters in this movie. We still had the dynamic between scientists and reporters and whatever military influence, although this time they kind of went with more just local law enforcement with the princess. And I thought she was a good addition, too, bringing them all together. Because it's interesting. I'm not sure whether the princess is supposed to be, technically an alien and well, she's a descendant from the people who fled their planet after Ghidorah destroyed their civilization. So that this is kind of like her ancestors kind of talking through her. And because they have the whole thing about, she fell through a pocket dimension, and that's how she survived, falling from the plane or escaping the explosion. And it's like, so did that, jog her memory and, brought on this, almost other persona or, personality, or... And then when she was shot at the end of the movie, she turns back to just human me. And it was like, okay.
No, that's the thing though. I think it would be really weird if it was because I'm confused because I know it takes a while. If you put actual science to it, it takes a while from a monster to fly from one area to another, or anything to travel from one area to another in space like that, from Venus to us. But how could she be descendant? I think it was did they say that verbatim in the film and I didn't catch it?
I mean, I think so. No,
okay.
I think that's what they went for, at least in the sub. That seemed to be the angle they were going for, at least the way I interpreted. But I'm pretty sure they did mention descendant somewhere in there.
Okay, because I know that, because that would be weird because it's just kind of wait, but how are you a descendant of when, that would, when was the Earth made? When was Venus? When was the... Wait, how could Ghidorah destroy... No, but how could Ghidorah destroy Venus and then be I'm going to fly away from the Earth? Oh, shit, the Earth, there's life here. Let me come destroy the Earth. That's weird.
It may...
I'm not saying I believe the rest of it. I'm not saying the rest of it's normal. I'm just saying that it's weird.
Yeah. I mean, Ghidorah might have to have a period of dormancy or something within the meteorite, or it was just flying around in space until the right conditions came along where it crash lands into Earth.
Good point, actually. But yeah, so, it's very interesting looking at, because I'm really trying to find out this Jupiter-Venus thing, because I'm not going to let this die until the show's over, and then I won't care anymore. But that's all I really think,
I also
really.
did enjoy, with the human characters, the brother and sister, the sister being the reporter, and then the brother also being the part of the police force. Because that brought in the interesting element of, these assassins are coming in to try to kill the princess, but, the guy from the police force is kind of the bodyguard, and they had some interesting, action scenes where it wasn't focused on the monsters. It was, this is a regular shootout, or, you have some scenes with, tension. And even the fairies got to help out by, trying to save her from the assassins when they tried to stab her to death. And it's we're going to flick off the lights. Oh, crap, there's somebody in here.
That was a lot of fun.
Pretty cool. Yeah, they felt fun,
Yeah, no, I actually was a huge fan of that. I really enjoyed, what's it called? I really enjoy bringing in, apparently there's a movie called Bye Bye Jupiter, and apparently it actually does have, Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, and Rodan, and I'm just so does that mean?
What?
What's going on with Jupiter?
What?
I'm, freaking out right now. Anyway, so it's funny. I'm trying to keep it all inside while you're talking, and I'm yes, let him talk, yes. But anyway, so, yeah, I really enjoyed bringing in the police. I still feel like there should have been a little bit more development, but honestly, in a movie like this, I feel like there is a lot more going on, and I excuse it just a little bit, especially because it's adding on to the universe where, Mothra versus Godzilla felt like it was rewriting some things. Rodan only had one monster. I know he had two Rodans, but, it's adding on the other insects and shit like that took a bit too much time. And we talked about that during the Rodan show that we did last week. But still, point is that when it comes to here, right, you introduced all these new characters, and, yeah, some of them are you're just the reporter. But when it came to the police, I feel like we haven't really had enough police in these giant monster movies. So especially, even though it was kind of funny, it's it felt like a normal police force. And it's by the way, you're escorting this, you're working with a foreign princess. Wait, what the fuck? Chief, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. I got to be real with you, Chief. Come on, you're good. I'm good. He even had this look on his face, I'm working with a princess. Are you sure, Chief? Is it maybe you should, I know you don't have the eye patch on anymore, but is it still kind of hard for you to see what the problem is here? By the way, I don't know if you noticed, the Chief was the same actor that played the scientist with the eye patch from the first Godzilla movie.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I keep forgetting the look, because every time you say it in the show, I'm damn it, missed it again, and then the next movie rolls around, and I'm all right, I'm going to look for it this time, and then I get lost in taking notes about the monsters and shit, and I'm
yeah, but then did you catch any other actors, or do I have to now do this for you again?
Well, I guess you're doing it again. I mean, I figured you'd like to do this for the show anyway, but
I do. I wanted to know if you caught him. The geologist is the same actor who was the geologist last time, who was the pilot in Godzilla Raids Again.
Right.
Well, he was. I say last time. He wasn't obviously in Rodan. I say last time was in Mothra versus Godzilla. But here's what's really funny. He's the same. They're both geologists, but completely different characters. They are not the same character.
Right.
Which is hilarious. I'll get to their names in a second. Do you remember that one doctor at the the clinic?
Yes.
That's the what is it? He was the original geologist, I think, or the original guy who basically was Godzilla is a dinosaur from the first movie.
Yeah, the paleontologist from the first
paleontologist.
movie.
That's
cool.
Yes.
I'm kind of sad
that he shaved his head and he didn't have glasses on, but
kind of
And he was
like,
also in
like
what? Sorry.
nothing against psychiatry or anything like that, but like I'm kind of sad he switched over to being a psychiatrist, and at this point in time, it's like, yes, let's give her shock therapy. I'm like, oh no, please don't do that.
Yeah, well, because it's something that at the time they thought was
it's
right,
the time
but
period.
so it's nothing
right,
about
exactly.
Yeah, so it's nothing about nowadays. It's just like like him going like, man, she clearly there's something clearly wrong with her brain. We'll shock it the fuck out of her. No. You know what's even
Especially
funnier though?
The assassins come in and they're just like, no, we'll just let them do the work for us. Cranks it all the way up to like 3,000. It's like, so this is gonna fucking hurt. I'm so glad that Rodan dropped Godzilla on the power lines at that exact moment. I'm like, all right, that's convenient as fuck, but like, thank you.
Well, I mean, you have to include the monsters in the plot somehow because, like, what ends up happening is I feel like with some of these movies, not all of them, but some of them. And again, I already told you how I want to move away from that harsh critique, although it might happen in some later movies. I don't know. I can't tell the future. I can't use telepathy, but still, I do want to get away from the whole like, it feels like a movie can happen without like, any of the people in it. But also, let's look at it the reverse too. You don't want a movie that feels like all the people can do everything without the monsters, coming into play at all, minus their deaths, right? Like you want to feel like, the monsters are doing something, even if it's accidental, to change the humans' lives. Not just, I stomp around and, the people, like everyone's scared because I'm stomping around, but other than that, I'm not going to really interact with you at all.
Right.
That's another problem that some of these movies can have here and there, that it feels like the humans can just, obviously, yes, some movies have them tie in a little bit more than others, but I think this one really tried their hardest to not just say, will the humans be affecting the monsters? Of course, but the monsters can also affect the humans, right? Not just, let's talk to these two fairies and they'll bring Mothra here. No, like you mentioned, falling on the power lines or things like that, or when they nearly killed all the assassins. Like that was pretty cool. Yeah,
the landslide that Ghidorah causes. Ghidorah, damn it.
But even both you can say it either way, but it's been said either way. Both lands. Well, no, because once was the car getting destroyed. And the second time was when he was about to shoot and kill them both.
Oh,
it was
right.
Like, well, fuck me.
There was a second landslide.
yes. Like, well, fuck me, and then he died. But no,
that was another thing. The
what?
assassin. I don't know how you the main assassin. I don't know how you took it, but I don't know whether it was the princess recognized him as, their earthly beings, like, oh, you're the assassin, who killed my father and who was trying to kill me. It's like, I recognize you. Or because she was still in that mindset of, no, I'm the alien or, coming from outer space. And it almost felt like she was calling him a traitor, as in, it made me really, like, think weirdly about the assassin character. It's like, was he a traitor back, as a descendant, or like a traitor back on your home planet, or...
Wait, I'm confused. She said that after she got shot.
Yeah.
No, I think you're confusing it.
She
got shot in the head. No, she got shot in the head. Then afterwards, she was a princess again, and she called him a traitor because the assassin was working with the king. Yes. Yeah, so that's the problem, where it's like, wait a minute, you were with us, and I forgot who hired him, but whoever it was that wanted to kill her was hired by that king, I guess, or that whatever ruler, whatever, hired him. Yeah. So it's like, you traitor, like you're gonna actually kill me. But it's kind of funny though, because it's like, wait, but he's an assassin. So who the fuck else has he killed that you're like fine with? What the fuck, princess?
Right.
It kind of takes that whole scene at the end where she's crying for the guy, like, oh, I love you, completely in a different direction. Because she's like, I love you, and it's like, what the fuck do you care? You know the assassin. You know him by name. You're like, hi, Philip. Wow, can't believe you're here trying to assassinate me, of all people. It's like, screw you, princess. You know him. I mean, again, maybe right, it's supposed to be like, I know that you're one of my people because I know that you're from my country, but to us, because they didn't hire foreigners, they're all Japanese. Because because that's the problem, I think, with this movie. In my opinion, it's another reason why you can tell that it's rushed. Because in Mothra versus Godzilla, they tried to hire foreigners or people who could look who were because Nelson, his actor, was he was half Russian.
Right.
So when they were like, oh yes, we're from the whatever country, they made up a country.
Right. Country X. Yeah. Yes,
whatever it was. No, I think that's a planet actually, Tristan. So when they made up that country, they were literally like, he looked foreign, so therefore it was like, he's a foreigner. But these two, even though they made up another country, which is kind of funny because I really shouldn't like this movie in a way because many things were kind of just taken from Mothra versus Godzilla and kind of like search replaced. But the problem, I say search replaced is if they use computers to type it up. But I have to be real with you guys, man. Like it was just, I guess maybe because there was some more monster action and because some of the characters even though I think that some needed more development, they at least had like the geologist and his crew trying to see what was up with the egg and everything. So
right.
It really felt like everyone, So they still kind of I don't know, they kept tabs on the humans. They didn't just like forget about them.
Yeah.
I think. But I have to admit, yes, this plot did really pretty much seem like Mothra and Mothra versus Godzilla. Even though, like, again, certain things were changed, but it was still the idea of like, yes, there are foreigners that I'm trying to kill or kidnap or capture, whatever it might be, and I am also a foreigner from that area. And like, it's funny how some things kind of stayed the same, but for some odd reason, basically because I liked it so much in Mothra, it feels like it worked here. You know, but yeah, I will admit though I would have wanted more about what.
No, like how you felt about the twins, the fairies coming in from Infant Island.
It was just it was very interesting because. Well, you know what? At this point, I feel like it's like they're well known, so it's like fuck it, right? Although to be fair, they could also they were agreeing with the Venetian or Venusian or the Jupiterian or the Martian. They were agreeing with her. So maybe they also knew some shit was going down. Although I have to admit, though, either way, the fact that they were, in Japan, it just kind of made sense. Not that, they'd want to be paid, but kind of like, we could fucking spread Mothra's message. I mean, Mothra's our god. She is. Fuck it, let's spread Mothra's message. Do you want us to pay you? Pay us and not enslaving us. Pay us and letting us fucking go back. How about that? Shit, all right, fine. Jeez. What's their problem?
I thought it was interesting in the sense it's like, I think they just kind of like coming on TV, and they kind of like seeing people. But at the same time, they're like, maybe we could come here one day and, not be surrounded by such fanfare and just, go sightseeing. Like, I feel like that's it. Like, they just like to get off the island sometimes and go sightseeing in Japan.
But, I just love you so much. Tristan, you're one of my best friends, and you're one of my favorite people ever. Because literally, for 2 movies, they were enslaved. And you're like, I think we just like getting off the island. You are literally colonialism, you fuck. Literally, they were enslaved twice. And you're like, I think I just want to go sightseeing.
I meant in this movie, not the others. Obviously, the others, they were taken against their will. Yes, I am not condoning that whatsoever. Thank you, Matt.
But I'm mentioning all the movies, and you're like, they just must love sightseeing.
I hate you. I hate you so much.
I'm literally talking about all 3 movies, and you're like, yeah, man, I think they just like sightseeing. I had to point it out. If even one other person noticed it, too. I just had to point it out, Tristan. Oh, man,
and this is the point in the show where Matt's co-host puts his foot in his mouth and doesn't realize it, and doesn't mean it, but did it anyway. Thank you.
No, but
we now return here to your regularly scheduled podcast.
Obviously, you were referring to this movie. It's just like I'm talking about all 3, and then you say that, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm crying right now. You're my
Matt's
favorite person.
Did he realize what the fuck he just said right now? Or
no, he didn't.
Explain it to his dumbass.
No idea. I've known you for 10 years, and I love it so much. Oh, my God. This is why we do these shows together, man. Okay. Oh, man, I have to compose myself. All right, which is it's hard for me to do. But anyway, let's be more serious here, okay? We're talking about a very serious movie here.
Okay.
Anyway,
the only other thing I wanted to add to that was I think it was after they actually saw her, the princess, and she starts speaking. They're kind of like, no, wait, guys, she's kind of onto something. You should probably listen to her. And then, like after that, they're like, yeah, you know what? We're gonna stick around because I think she's like onto something, and we might get all wrapped up into this.
Well, it was pretty much after it was like, hey, she says X is going to happen, and then it did. And then Y was going to happen, and then it did. So now she's talking about Z. So are we just going to let Z happen? Or are we going to push it somewhere else? No. How about we just take Ghidorah and we push it somewhere else? But
Godzilla threw it back into the sky, so.
Basically. Wasn't it so funny, like, him to, I feel like this entire, like, I hate to say it, but, like, after it's like, yeah, throw him in the sky. Oh, I'm going to swim over to an island. And, like, Godzilla and Rodan are just there smiling, and I'm like, they're still a threat to Japan, though.
Oh, no. I felt like, it basically felt like the end of the first Avengers movie where Iron Man's just like, yeah, so I know this really great restaurant on X, street, like, you want to go?
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, fine. And you just see them eating at the end of the movie. I felt like that was what was going to happen with Godzilla and Rodan. It's like, so Mothra went home and, Godzilla just looks over like, you want to get a lunch? Rodan's like, fuck it. I got nothing better to do.
Yeah. This is so interesting. So getting back to that weird translation thing, yeah, I'm looking around, right? And, yeah, I think you saw a version that it said Jupiter. I saw a version that it said Venus. And, of course, both of us saw the same dub, so it said Mars.
Right. Yeah.
But it's so strange because the version that I saw that said Venus was from Classic Media, who also released the dub, so they translated it. So, I don't know, isn't it so strange, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, Classic Media they're the DVD distributors. Not that you didn't see the DVD, a DVD version as well, but, it's so strange, isn't it, that, and also, you might, again, people are like, Matt, just Google it. I am, and there are multiple sites that, show summaries of the film. And all of them either say, oh, she's from Mars, which obviously we know that means that person's talking about the dub, right? Yeah. And then others are saying Venus, and then others are saying Jupiter.
Huh.
So,
granted, it really doesn't make a huge difference for the film itself. Like, she could say the line either way and be like, oh, I was from here, and my, people were destroyed by Ghidorah.
No, no.
Oh, okay.
What matters is that, yes, you are correct. I don't know how I ended up missing it twice or it didn't, connect with me twice, which clearly that makes, that's the problem with me, clearly. But, yes, Ghidorah not only destroyed her people, but then her people were like, we're coming to Earth and we're fucking. And so they just, ended up naming people. Well, that's basically the story.
I kind of thought of it like the Zygons, and they just kind of blended in, and I guess you got a point because she mentions, or they mention later on, it's like, we don't have the kind of powers that you had, and she's like, I didn't have them, I don't have. Well, because at one point she was reading in the dark. It's like, oh, you have dark vision, and then she has the whole seeing the future thing, and that was the biggest point of her people. It's like they could see into the future. Oh, God, I wonder if they had a Bardock moment where they just saw the end of their planet, and they just saw, instead of a giant Saiyan ape or Frieza coming over the horizon, you just see Ghidorah coming over the horizon.
Honestly, I'm all jokes aside, right? Obviously, we have to acknowledge that Akira Toriyama wasn't 20 when he wrote Dragon Ball. He was in his 30s. So clearly he had seen these movies. Like,
Probably,
when you made those, like, you were making those jokes. I think I forgot what show you were when you were like, oh yeah, it's like, it's like Rodan is kind of like Vegeta, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, why are you laughing? Like, I was kind of like, yeah, like, for all, like, obviously. And also for anyone who's like, well, how do you know he's a fan, right? Because some people might not really, because I know some of the stuff from Dr. Slump. Everyone doesn't know. In Dr. Slump, he would literally, Akira Toriyama, and by the way, Dr. Slump, of course, if people also don't know, was his work that he got famous for before Dragon Ball, right? So with Dr. Slump, he actually had a lot of references to Gamera and Ultraman. He actually had Gamera featured in some of his chapters, like just chilling out with the rest of the village, kind of as a joke. Obviously, I don't think it carried over to like the manga and other stuff like that. But like, yeah, he's a huge fan of, or at least he seems to be a fan, and had grown up with tokusatsu. So, like many kids did, right? Both in Japan and the U.S. So you sit back and you're like, yeah, honestly, he may have wrote Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z with, these characters in mind, in some form or another. Oh, by the way, before I mention the monsters again, I want to talk about. I think it would have made more sense, right? And I know like they were trying to go for sci-fi anyway, but I feel like it still would have been sci-fi enough if she would have had like a link to someone from Venus, which sound or like being possessed by someone from Venus. It sounds crazy, but a little less crazy than we came here long ago. We basically bred with people from your planet. And
it felt weird to me because at times it felt like, oh, maybe she is just possessed and she's like the mouthpiece.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It
would make more sense. Like, I guess in their head it made sense because like, no, that part of her, it's like literally in her, like it's part of her. Literally, it's like. It would be as if like people talk about like, mothers have an instinct or fathers have an instinct or hunter gatherer, like stuff like that, right? So just stuff that's like hardwired into our brain. So I guess the idea is that the prophecies are hardwired into her brain because her descendants were from Venus, or Venus / Jupiter / Mars, but still. It's weird to me, just putting it out there, just weird, because I really think it would have been better if she was, like you said, the mouthpiece or the vessel, and then when she got shot in the head, it was kind of like, or grazed. Technically it was grazed, but still, she moved away from it.
Yeah, because they boil it down to, like, the shock of almost getting shot is what, like, made it leave her. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, and again, well, they even said, the movie said that, but then the actual actors, the actual characters were like, look, it's the 60s, man. We were literally going to shock you. We don't fucking know what's going on.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
No, right? Like, that's kind of what the whole thing was. Like, you really honestly think we understand what's going on right now. And that was kind of the consensus. Like, dude, I don't know. And I was like, well, okay, I'm happy to hear it. Anyway. And then that was it. And I was like, all right. So that's the movie. But no, but talking about the monsters for a second. I loved how, and I think I said this to you about Mothra versus Godzilla a little bit, but I definitely see it here. This is why when people tell me, right, like, oh, Japanese monsters, they actually have characters, right? And some people who don't really get it, right, they're like, no, but they're just monsters. They just go around smashing. Like, what do you mean they have character? What do you mean that they're like, they are their own, like, monster? They're all just monsters, right?
You don't know me, I'm my own monster.
Basically, because they think of them not like you would Frankenstein or Wolfman. They think, no, you're just a giant monster that's kind of heaping around. When really you see in this movie that through the suit actors, through the attacks and things like that, it really does feel like they have their own personality traits, and I think it's very interesting. Where like Godzilla is just a straight up brute. Right? Like, Godzilla literally slammed Rodan.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop laughing. And then Rodan got up like, sir, may I have another? And I was like, oh, God. So he slams, like, so he's a brute, where Rodan is like, I don't know, like, he seems a little bit smarter, but still like, I'll fight you, but like a little bit smarter. Right?
Yeah.
And at least not as violent, right? And then you have Mothra, of course, being the, considering like the mother Gaia, of all, is kind of like, no, let's all work together to save the Earth.
Right.
So literally, it's like Mothra still violent though. It's like, if they didn't come there of their own free will, Mothra would have came there and wrecked that town. They being the fairies.
Right.
So like, still like, I'm gonna kill you. But at the same time, it was just very interesting that like each one has a specific character trait that you can sit there and go, yes, that is like literally when they were describing what they would do. From seeing the movies and from seeing how they interacted in this movie, it all made sense. Like, Godzilla's like, why would I help them? And Rodan is like, psh, why would I help them? And you're sitting back like, damn, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Oh, God, I love that so much. And then I forget which character, one of the humans just goes, oh, these monsters, I didn't think they could possibly be, even more stubborn than humans. It's like, you literally bombed both of them. You know that, right? Like,
well, it's
Godzilla
funny, depending on what version you watch.
It's like Rodan, you bombed its nest. It's like, I can see why Rodan would be like incredibly pissed off at you guys. And Godzilla, every time he wakes up, you shock him too. So it's kind of like, but fuck those guys.
But here's what's interesting though. Depending on which version you watched, it came off to me more as they were like, wow, they're just as stubborn as people. Like, hey, they're just like us.
Yeah, that too.
That's what's really funny. But
the one thing in that conversation that I loved in the dub version, because it was just so ridiculous. Like,
thank you. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, where the twins just go, "Oh, Godzilla, such language." And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna believe it. You know what? I believe it.
Oh, I didn't notice that. That's funny. I was talking about when
like, like, Godzilla, you shouldn't use such language like that. And I'm like, I mean, I'd feel like he'd have a bit of pent up aggression against humanity, considering everything that's happened.
No, I was trying to refer to Rodan, them saying, "Oh, Rodan will fly into space." And it was just like, but what's Godzilla going to do? And they just don't say it. And I'm like, damn. Godzilla's like, just burn the planet with me.
Really?
Fuck it.
Oh, wow. Did they
said that in the dub.
Say that? Oh,
yes.
I guess I missed that one. I guess I was too busy laughing at Godzilla cursing.
Because they tried to, it's kind of like, what the fuck are they going to do? Like, they're not going to save the Earth, but, like, it's going to come for them. And it's like, Rodan's like, fuck it, I'll fly into space. And then with Godzilla, there was nothing he could do, so it was kind of just, like, sitting there. And I'm like, guys, are you serious right now? But it's kind of, I
feel like Rodan wouldn't be able to leave the planet, but, I mean, I guess
that's how I feel.
Yeah, because it's still, I don't know. To me, it feels like if they said, "Oh, Ghidorah can survive in space," I'm like, yeah, it hatched from a meteorite. It's originally from space. All right, I'll give you that. But Rodan, it's like it's still kind of an Earth, a planetary dwelling creature, at least in my mind.
Yeah.
So.
I wouldn't believe that.
Yeah, it felt for me like. It felt, I guess, Mothra at first was like, no, we have to do this, and they're like, why would we do that? It's like, but, Earth is your planet too. It's like, all right, this is my territory. You're right. So if I see him, if I see Ghidorah, I'm gonna whoop his ass. But
basically.
Other than that, whatever.
I think it basically boiled down to, look, you're saying that it's going to kill humanity. Please understand, I'm also trying to kill humanity. It literally means nothing to me. And Mothra is just like, stops. Oh. But Rodan, I also would like to agree, thank you, with Godzilla. Oh. And there's just this pause.
Rodan and Godzilla just kind of look at each other like, all right, high five. We have an understanding. Like, why were we fighting again? Oh, right, you fucking kicked me in the head. You.
Yeah.
and then they just start punching each other again.
The Mothra's like, but the Earth is your planet. I mean, we exist on it, right? I mean, we do. Yeah, we do.
I mean, Godzilla's like, yeah, this is my planet. Rodan's like, all right, calm the fuck down.
You mean my planet? You mean my as in Rodan's, right? That's when you said my. You didn't mean my as in your, because that would just be silly.
They start punching each other again. It's like Mothra's like, God damn it, guys, give me 5 seconds.
So Mothra's like, but if it destroys the planet, then you
Follow
guys can't live on the planet. They're both like, do you really think we want to live? Okay. So we are irradiated beasts.
You know how I was created, right? All right. You got a point there.
They killed my significant other. They will all die in a sea of flames. Okay, but listen, though. Guys, I'm sensing... Mothra is the therapist. I'm sensing some negativity.
Some hostility here. But Mothra's just like, okay, final straw. I'll put it to you this way. If Ghidorah destroys humanity, that means you guys won't get the chance to do it. Shit, she's got a point.
Let's fuck them up. Or most, like you said, though, I think yours was very relevant. If I see him,
right?
I don't, like, because that's the thing, too. Because you know what I think the point was? Oh, it'll kill humanity. We don't care. But it's going to come after you, too. You know that, right? Ah, shit, it will.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't, obviously, Ghidorah's not going to...
Godzilla's like, I'll burn that bridge when I get to it.
Basically, literally, he'll burn it.
Literally.
But all jokes aside, right? Like, I don't think... Like, obviously, Ghidorah was going to be like, hey, fellow monster bros, this is super cool. You're all good. I'm going to only destroy the rest of the planet, but you guys are fine. No, literally. I mean, granted, yes, they sort of attacked first in a way, in some ways, because, like, you know, but, like, still, I really highly doubt King Ghidorah was going to be like, y'all are good, right? We're all good here. No, it's like, you are in my way. I'm, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, technically Venus still does exist in that world, I assume. So, like, yes, it didn't actually, like, burn. Like, it didn't, like, break the planet in half, or Jupiter, whichever planet. It didn't break it in half. But still, like, I don't know. I don't feel like it would be comfortable letting the other monsters just live.
Mm.
You know?
That'd be hysterical,
like, I feel like...
If
I feel like it's
comes
an
up
all or
and just
nothing.
like, hey, guys, you want to, like... travel through time and not time. It's like, you want to travel through space with me and destroy other civilizations with me? Rodan and Godzilla just look at each other, put sunglasses on. Let's do this. Mothra's like, no, what are you doing?
I'm just so confused. Is King Ghidorah the doctor now? Did he give them sonic specs? I'm a little confused.
Geez. Okay. I don't think that... Well, oh, wow. Now I'm contemplating whether Ghidorah could fit in the TARDIS. Okay, this is going...
It
this
can,
is going places.
But it can't fit through the door.
Shit.
So, like, one head could just be in there, and the doctor could be fighting it with a sword.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway.
What was I going to say? Oh, that was another bit. As Mothra's just like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to go fight it. And... you know, crawls over and it's like, hey, Ghidorah! Shoots lightning. Oh, God, why? And then Godzilla just, like, runs over the hilltop, like, he's like, wait a minute. Only I can beat up Mothra. Get over here!
Yeah, no, either, it went one of two ways. Either that, or, like, I heard one of the Pokemon songs. Like, literally, as getting shocked, they hear, da-na-na-na-na-na. Da, na, 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 na. Like when Pikachu was like injured and Ash was taken to the Pokemon Center. Like that song.
Yeah.
Either that or like literally as like Mothra gets hit. Brother, my brother, tell me what are we fighting for?
Oh, geez.
It's got to be this more. Oh my God, fuck it. That's like that's literally what happened. That's just what happened. But seriously though, yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like that's just kind of what happened. And granted, I'm just happy that they teamed together, kind of like as I guess whatever. It's coming to kill me, sure. Because I really think it would have been really bad. And I feel like American movies would have done this. No offense to like, I don't want to like shit on American movies. Like I feel like American movies would make it like at least in that time period would have been a lot more like fuck it. Let's just have Mothra ask, and they're like, well, golly gee, of course. We love humans now. Like, I really like that they still tried to retain this aspect of, like, no, even though we've changed Godzilla, right? Like, we all know. Everyone at that point knew. Godzilla was not the same 1950s monster that it once was.
Right.
But it's still not, at this point anyway, it's not, they're not trying to make it into this hero.
He's still
or this
not
happy-go-lucky.
Earth's greatest defender quite yet.
Exactly. And that's cool, right? Because, honestly, I prefer Godzilla kind of being in this middle ground where it's kind of like, look, we need him to fight this new monster, but in no way do we ever want to call him when there isn't a threat.
Right.
Like, I don't know, like, I don't want...
Godzilla's the Vegeta?
Yeah, essentially. But, I mean, he had a kid, right? And that's what turned him good? Was that what it was? Anyway,
No. We're not up to that yet. Let me just enjoy it without that thing in the picture yet.
Let me just live a good life, Matt.
Yeah.
Anyway,
let me just enjoy my monster fights while I still can.
Oh, my God. But, yeah, man, I just, I really like this movie. And when it's, but I want to mention that one thing about the monsters. But anyway, moving back towards the film, like to the characters themselves, I still say it. Like, I feel like there could have been some more development, but I like what they did with them. I really do. I just wish that they would have done something a little bit different with, the race of people that came for. I think it would have been a lot better if it was more like of a psychic link or like a ghostly, weird psychic, which again sounds crazy, but I mean, look at the movie we were watching already, right? Like, let's not act like that's the weirdest thing.
Right.
But I will admit, though, the dimensional thing would have made more sense, in my opinion, that she would have got caught up in some weird Venus ghost shit or Jupiter ghost shit, because it's like she fell through different dimensional cracks and stuff like that. But to say, like, she fell through the cracks and that's why she remembers who she once was is awkward.
Right.
So, yeah, I'll say that much. Like, the plot, I'm not going to say, like, the plot was amazing, right? But with the characters, and also having her character be this, like, this prophetess from, talking about the future and everything, that was cool. Like, there were certain aspects about this movie that I think have been better than a lot of the tokusatsu movies that we've talked about recently. And the monster fight, despite the one rock thing that I laugh at, I did really enjoy the fights. I really did, right? I just definitely think that when it came... by the way, I really love that they went full sci-fi for this. I'll say that much, even though I don't like the whole, like, the race coming in and stuff like that. Still, I really like that they were, like, looking to space and then the brainwave stuff. By the way, they mentioned the brainwaves earlier in the movie, so you would think that there would be, like, a weird brain connection to another planet or something. You would think, right?
Or that maybe, the UFOs that they see were trying to warn them of Ghidorah's coming, and, they couldn't get through them that way, so they, like, hijacked this one princess. It's like, well, why her? It's like, well, she seemed to have some kind of status. We thought maybe you'd listen to her through that, that kind of idea.
Yeah. Yes. But also, it felt weird because it felt like as if she was a normal person having these flashes, I think that would be okay. But the fact that they kind of switched her into this other personality, I mean, again, it might just be like a 1960s thing, like, oh, well, like, that can happen, right? It's like amnesia can happen, yes, but amnesia plus psychic visions plus the fact that she used to be, like, her descendants were from another planet, like, adding all that together doesn't even make it sci-fi. It just makes it weird, Right. Like, granted, obviously them coming from another planet is sci-fi. Ghidorah being from another planet is sci-fi. A lot of sci-fi elements, but, like, adding them all together just makes it in that way for her just made it weird. Not so much sci-fi. Oh, the music though was fucking brilliant. I love the music for this movie. Like, it really made it feel like a sci-fi movie. Yeah. Like, it's been so interesting having you and I watch this, and of course all of you guys listening in as well, watching the movies with us. I hope so anyway before the podcast, or at least you've seen it in the past. seeing this transition between it being, I mean, yes, of course, I'm not going to say that the original movie for Gogeta wasn't a sci-fi movie, right? That's stupid. Many of these movies have been sci-fi films, yes, but they felt like they've kind of been focusing more on the humans and a bit less with the sci-fi that you and I think. Like when you and I think sci-fi, right, we think of space more so than we do like nuclear bombs, right? Because nuclear bombs are real. Making Godzilla is sci-fi, right? But nuclear bombs are real. Hydrogen, like the H-bomb, like the bomb that, not the hydrogen bomb, the oxygen bomb, oxygen destroyer, fake, but the concept can seem like it's based in reality. I understand. Like obviously it was, no, right? But again, like it feels like it's something that the government could actually make, or a government could actually make, or a scientist could. Like it does, right? Oxygen destroyer, quote unquote. But but still, again, sci-fi. The way they killed the Rodans, right? Not sci-fi. I know some people might go, no, but the volcano, like it's obviously not real science. Yeah, but it's not anything regarding, basically, to me, a lot of things that have, minus the Mothra, the beam that he used on Mothra, that one laser.
Right, the atomic heat cannon.
Yes, but even the whole, these strings can, pick up anything. They're super strong.
Oh my God.
Not based in reality because it is sci-fi technically because those don't exist, right? At least to that to be able to pick up a giant, to that degree. But at the same time, still realistic though in a way because it's just string. Like I know you can say, oh, it's just like not saying it wasn't a smart way to save on the budget, but it's string,
right? Like, if
steel
cables, yes, but string.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so it doesn't really do anything for me. But here it's kind of like, no, meteorite came from space. Then, of course, because of Mothra, you brought in these two fairies, which is more fantasy, but them being able to communicate telepathically, that's more sci-fi. So, just slowly but surely, they're adding more and more, more fantastical sci-fi elements. Not fantasy itself, but just, larger sci-fi elements to the series. And I think it's a really cool thing to see as it's going on. Seeing them find their sci-fi footing.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm really enjoying with you as these movies go on, is seeing them further delve into the more, the sci-fi-ness, if you will, if that's a real word, and it's not, by the way, it's not a real word. But still, the sci-fi-ness of what's going on.
And with that idea, we can make the monster fights a bit more, I won't say, I don't dislike Mothra. And, I do enjoy Rodan. But, now we actually have another monstrous being with Ghidorah to fight Godzilla, and it's like, oh, yeah, this could go either way. Because to me, I'm sorry, just Mothra against Godzilla is not going to cut it. That's why I enjoyed.
I think this Mothra,
the larva teamed up and played it smart. Hiding in the rock outcrops and shooting it with the string shot, and it's like, okay, because that's I enjoyed that because they played it smart. It wasn't them just fighting, going right up against Godzilla and be like, oh, we could totally take him. It's like, guys.
I know, yeah. But again, you and I believe that a fully formed Mothra could go up against Godzilla. Not that it would win, but I think it can go up against it without saying, oh, Godzilla's just going to destroy it. It's like, yeah, but if it gets a psychic beam or it literally, kind of uses its wings the way Rodan did, Godzilla's flying away. So, granted, I think it needs some more attacks, and I think they do give it some, either fire breath or, psychic beams and shit like that as the movies go on.
Yeah,
I believe they do.
Right.
Yeah. But as of right now, yes, of course, I get what you're trying to say. They don't really, it's hard for them to go up against it one-on-one. But still, with the thing is, though, the only problem is that you're like, oh, Godzilla could take it on one-on-one. I really doubt it. I do not think that King Ghidorah, at this point, could take on Godzilla one-on-one, and Godzilla's like, I'm good. I'm going to come out the winner. I'm sorry. It's going to throw rocks at all of three of its heads. Yes, it has the atomic breath, but if Rodan could take it, then... Yeah.
Again,
as the movies go on...
Right. Godzilla gets... everyone's kind of upscaling as the movies go on. So
yes. So I'm sure Ghidorah would even be more of a threat as the movies go on. But still,
right.
I do think that Godzilla, they start to. It's funny when it first came out, like the first time. All it needed to do was use its breath and stomp, and it was like, Jesus fucking Christ, this thing will kill everything in its path, destroy everything in its path. You give it other monsters, you kind of have to give it, like, make it a bit more serious. And granted, I don't know that many, like many other movies, but from the clips that I've seen, even though some of the fights can get wackier, I don't think they're throwing rocks wacky. And I know it sounds so silly, because, again, if it threw a rock at me, it would crush me. And I know that there's that double drop kick clip that I always talk about that's really funny. But I still think that using its feet to kick and, it punching and scraping is a lot different than it throwing a rock. Sorry.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But
like,
even though that clip was hilarious.
That might, like, that kind of thing is probably just either the limitations with the suits or, like, what they're willing to let the actors do to each other even at that point.
Well, no, I argue with suit limitations. It's the fact that I'm sure they just have the rocks around, and it's like, fuck it, have use the rocks. Like, thinking, that's what it would do as a monster, right? But again, after a while, it just looks kooky.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny. Yeah. I would rather it stand there and twerk and whip its tail because its tail is fucking huge, right? So literally it's going to slam into Rodan. I'd rather see it twerk than use rocks, which is really funny because literally it's like hitting him in the fucking face. God damn it, he got my tail.
Yeah.
Like the second Rodan clamps into the tail, I'm like, okay, because they're suits, it doesn't look like it hurts, but just imagine it, right? Like it would fucking hurt.
Well, this is like the third time that's happened to Godzilla too. It's like twice from Mothra. It's just, why is it always the tail? Always getting bitten on the tail.
Although it's funny later when Mothra's like, I need to get around, because it was like, clamp the tail.
Yeah, it's like, come on, buddy, you're not out of this yet. It's like Godzilla like, hey, you got any special moves that you could use? I could shoot string at it. Good enough for me.
Well, he knows what it did to its face earlier.
Well, yeah, Godzilla just kind of looks back. You know what? Yeah, that string was fucking annoying. It even made me fuck off that day. So you know what? Let's try that.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say about the movie. I think we should kind of just start to wrap up a little bit. But if there's anything you want to say, like, about the movie itself, because I'm sitting here and I'm like, yeah, I've both complained and praised it. It's so funny how it's like I praised it until you reminded me of a plot point, and then sounds like I shat on it. But really, I have to say, I really do like the film. Like, it's one of my favorites out of all the ones that we've done so far. But what would you like to say about the film?
Well, one of the only other things I was going to say, like the monsters fighting, like, Godzilla would use his claws and even his teeth, too, a lot more, I feel like. But, like, again, that I feel like that gets into, like, the limitations of the puppetry and the suits and that kind of idea. And I guess necessary, like, maybe not so much this, but, like, in the earlier movies, I guess maybe, like, how violent they wanted to get.
That, too, of course. Yes, most definitely. Because it felt like, out of nowhere, the movie started off super either violent or, like, crazy. And, like, of course, believe me, Mothra vs. Godzilla, wasn't that the movie where we got that really violent gunshot? Like, that was that one, right? It was. Yeah. So, like, it could get violent with the people, but I understand why the monsters, in some ways, they'd actually want more humor, like Godzilla getting shot in the ass, in the crotch, right? Rather than him, like, ripping off someone's head.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I saw that, and just Godzilla, like, clenching his buttocks and jumping in the air like, yikes, that's smart! And just, like, Rodan and Mothra just, like, snickering in the background.
That's what you get! Literally everyone you love died. Oh.
Like, oh, jeez.
Godzilla has the most...
I feel like that one was for the kids, and then you said that, so...
No, I'm saying, like, I feel like Godzilla has the most, like, physical, but also, like, physical and mental takedowns. Like, he can slam down Rodan, and then if they laugh at him, it's like, hey, guess what? Both of you had family that died. It's like, Godzilla! Jesus, Godzilla.
Oh, man.
What? Not even the first one anyway. I don't give a fuck. Starts kicking everything. It's not. At this point, every single monster there, minus, literally Rodan's the only one that's like, so I survived. What about you guys? Literally every other monster is not its original. Now you might say yes, but Mothra is But still, what I'm saying is yes, they survived the movies they were in, but they are not the original. Like Rodan is literally, I think, the only one there that's like, I was in my movie, I lived, here I am. Mothra is like, I was in Mothra versus Godzilla. Godzilla, I was in Godzilla Raids Again and later films. Like, how interesting is that, right? Like, literally, original Godzilla is dead, and this original Mothra is dead.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good... Is that where we should leave the podcast? I don't know.
No, I was going to, you reminded me of a point I was going to say with Rodan. I did like the fact that they specified the same mountain, and it's like, she predicts, it's like, Rodan's going to wake up. It's like, really? Oh, well, son of a bitch. He's poking his head out.
Yeah. Well, that's a Rodan waking up if I sure as ever saw one.
Rodan's just like, oh, what the hell happened to me? It's like, oh, right. I remember. I was set on fire.
I was murdering everyone.
And buried in lava. And now I'm back. I'm going to wreak ever-loving hell down on all of you.
And then it did. So that was interesting. But yeah, so anywho, I think we're going to wrap things up here. I want to thank you all for listening in as always. And here we are, right? We did another Friday Night Movies with another Godzilla film. And honestly, I can't wait till next week because from the looks of it, if Kentucky hasn't taken me, right, which it has, but if it isn't taking my soul, I will be in Kentucky. But we should have another episode lined up for next week. If not, damn. But we should be good there. Now you might be wondering, how do I know if you guys are going to have another episode of Friday Night Movies or any of the other amazing podcasts that you do on your on your show? How am I going to know this? Well, you can go to our main Facebook page, which is /ThoseGuysOnTheRadio, our Twitter, which is @ThoseGuysRadio, our Instagram, which is /ThoseGuysOnTheRadio, or our main website, which is tgproduction.net. And you get all the info on new podcasts, Let's Plays, merchandise, and much, much more. So also our merchandise, by the way, being on our tgproduction.net website, you can go tgproduction.net/merchandise or our eBay, which is /ThoseGuysRadio. And you can find all of our cool merchandise there, a bunch of shirts either from the podcast, like some funny quotes, or some stuff from our Those Guys Play Let's Play series. And speaking of our Let's Plays, Tristan and I actually just beat Dragon Ball Z Budokai. And later on this month, we're actually going to be posting another video for another game that we've beaten, which is kind of sad. It's in a way it's sad, right? Because with Budokai, thankfully, with Dragon Ball Z Budokai, we are going back to it because there's some more stuff to do. But this other game that we've beaten, it's over, right? And we have to move on from it. But thankfully, you guys can keep on reliving those moments through by searching up Those Guys Play on YouTube and finding our Those Guys Play channel and seeing all the different episodes that we've done. We recently finished Season 3 of Those Guys Play, but as we start every game on Those Guys Play, usually we start them there and then we continue them later, and you'll end up seeing either through playlists or through things like that, seeing us continue the games and eventually beat them. So right now we also have Matt beats games from his childhood, me being Matt, and beat games from my childhood, currently beating Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, A Link to the Past, recently beat Crash Bandicoot 2, ended up doing a very interesting series of live streams, beating it once with the original ending, another time with the 100% ending. That was so much fun, if anyone didn't notice it. I did a live stream on Facebook and on YouTube the same night, and boy, was that fun. And by fun, I mean a hassle, and it hurt so much, everyone. But still, did that through Facebook and through YouTube, and also playing currently Fatal Frame as well. And so want to thank you all for Matt Games for Childhood. So want to thank you all for listening in. Love you guys. Take care and donate to our Patreon, which is TG Production. So search up TG Production on Patreon or just patreon.com/TG Production, and you'll see all the different tiers and what you can donate to and just helping us be us and what you'd get in return for that. So thank you all so much. have a good night, and say good night, Tristan.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.